Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English After Hours. I'm Steph.
And I'm Tim. Steph, before we start today, I have to tell you, I just had the strangest experience this morning. I was walking to work when I smelled something incredible coming from a food truck. The aroma was so amazing that I actually turned around and got in line, even though I'd already eaten breakfast.
That's the power of good food. What was the food truck selling?
Korean BBQ tacos. I'd never heard of that combination before, but the fusion of Korean flavors with Mexican-style tacos was absolutely delicious. It made me realize how adventurous food culture has become in cities.
That's so interesting. Food trucks have really changed urban dining culture. They're bringing authentic international cuisine to street corners and making it accessible to everyone.
Exactly. And it got me thinking about how much our relationship with food has evolved. When I was growing up, ethnic food meant the one Chinese restaurant in town. Now, I live within walking distance of Thai, Ethiopian, Peruvian, and Lebanese restaurants.
It's amazing how globalized food culture has become. And speaking of food adventures, I had my own culinary surprise this week. My neighbor invited me to a potluck dinner, and I discovered this incredible dish called shakshuka, eggs cooked in spiced tomato sauce.
I've never heard of that. Where is it from?
It's originally from North Africa and the Middle East, but my neighbor learned to make it during a year she spent studying in Israel. She said it's become one of her comfort foods, and now I understand why. It was hearty, flavorful, and perfect for sharing.
Food really is one of the best ways to experience different cultures, isn't it? You can travel the world just by trying different cuisines.
Absolutely. And for people learning English, food vocabulary is so practical. Whether you're ordering at restaurants, shopping for groceries, or describing your favorite dishes, food language comes up constantly in daily conversations.
Plus, food and dining topics are incredibly common in English proficiency tests like IELTS. Students need to be able to discuss food preferences, describe cooking methods, and talk about dining experiences.
You're so right. Food is such a universal human experience, but the vocabulary can be quite specific and varied.
Well, then, I think our food adventures this week have perfectly set up today's lesson.
I couldn't agree more. Today, we're diving into food and dining vocabulary that's both delicious and essential for English learners.
Before we explore food vocabulary, please remember to subscribe to English After Hours, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up.
And remember, we upload new English lessons every single day. Make sure you don't miss tomorrow's episode.
Today, we're covering essential vocabulary for talking about different cuisines, restaurant experiences, cooking methods, and food preferences.
This topic is particularly valuable for IELTS students because food questions appear regularly in speaking tests, and culinary vocabulary is useful for writing tasks about culture, lifestyle, and personal preferences.
Are you ready to learn food and dining English?
Let's get started. Today, we're learning how to talk about different types of cuisine and cooking styles, describe restaurant experiences and dining etiquette, discuss food preferences and dietary requirements, and express opinions about flavors, textures, and cooking methods.
That's right. Whether you're ordering meals at restaurants, discussing favorite foods with friends, describing cooking techniques, or preparing for IELTS speaking questions about food and culture, this vocabulary is essential for effective communication.
You'll use this vocabulary when dining out, grocery shopping, cooking with others, describing cultural dishes, and explaining food preferences or dietary restrictions to others.
We'll learn vocabulary for different international cuisines, restaurant types and dining experiences, cooking methods and ingredients, and how to express opinions about taste, texture, and food quality.
Since I enjoy experimenting with international cuisines and trying new restaurants, while Tim prefers familiar comfort foods and home cooking, we can explore different approaches to food and dining. Let's start by talking about our personal food preferences and how our tastes have developed over time. Tim, that Korean BBQ taco experience you had this morning sounds like it expanded your culinary horizons. How would you describe your relationship to trying new foods?
I've definitely become more adventurous over the years. When I was younger, I was pretty cautious about unfamiliar foods. I stuck to basic American cuisine: burgers, pizza, fried chicken, things like that.
What changed your attitude toward trying new cuisines?
Living in Chicago helped a lot. The city has such diverse neighborhoods with authentic restaurants run by families from all over the world. My students also introduced me to foods from their countries, and I realized I was missing out on amazing flavors and experiences. Now I try to be open-minded, though I still have preferences. I tend to enjoy hearty, flavorful dishes rather than very spicy or extremely exotic foods.
That's a nice balance between adventurous and practical. What about you, Steph? How would you describe your approach to food and dining? I'm definitely a food enthusiast. I love exploring different cuisines, learning cooking techniques, and understanding how food reflects cultural traditions. Food is one of my favorite ways to connect with different cultures.
Do you enjoy cooking as much as eating?
I do. I especially enjoy learning traditional recipes and cooking methods. When I travel, I often take cooking classes or visit local markets to understand regional ingredients and techniques. I also like the social aspect of food, sharing meals with friends, trying new restaurants together, and cooking for people I care about.
Do you have any favorite types of cuisine?
I'm particularly drawn to Mediterranean foods, fresh vegetables, olive oil, herbs, seafood. I also love Asian cuisines like Thai and Vietnamese for their balance of flavors, sweet, sour, salty, and spicy, all in one dish.
Those sound like cuisines that emphasize fresh, healthy ingredients.
Exactly. I appreciate foods that are both delicious and nutritious, though I certainly enjoy indulgent comfort foods occasionally too.
Now let's learn some necessary vocabulary for different types of cuisine and cooking styles.
International cuisines: Italian, Chinese, Mexican, Indian, Thai, French, Greek, Japanese, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean.
Cooking methods: grilled, baked, fried, steamed, boiled, roasted, sautéed, barbecued, stir-fried, braised.
Food categories: appetizers, main courses, side dishes, desserts, beverages, seafood, vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free.
Let's practice describing different cuisines and their characteristics. This is very useful for IELTS speaking tasks about food and culture.
Can you describe Italian cuisine and what makes it distinctive?
Italian cuisine emphasizes fresh, high-quality ingredients, prepared simply to highlight natural flavors. Pasta, olive oil, tomatoes, and cheese are fundamental ingredients, but each region has its own specialties.
What are some popular Italian cooking methods?
Italians often use simple techniques like grilling, baking, and sautéing. They prefer to let ingredient quality speak for itself rather than using complex preparation methods or heavy sauces.
Pizza and pasta are internationally famous, but Italian cuisine also includes excellent seafood, risottos, and regional specialties like Tuscan soups or Sicilian desserts.
That's an excellent description. What about Asian cuisines? How would you characterize Thai food?
Thai cuisine is known for balancing five fundamental flavors: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and spicy. Fresh herbs like basil, cilantro, and lemongrass are essential, along with ingredients like coconut milk, fish sauce, and chili peppers.
What cooking techniques are common in Thai cooking?
Stir frying is very popular, along with steaming and grilling. Many Thai dishes are prepared quickly at high heat to preserve the freshness and texture of vegetables and proteins.
Thai cuisine also includes many raw preparations like som tam, papaya salad, and cooked salads that showcase fresh ingredients with bold dressing combinations.
Both Italian and Thai cuisines seem to prioritize fresh ingredients, just with completely different flavor profiles.
Now let's learn some vocabulary for restaurant experiences and dining out.
Restaurant types: fine dining, casual dining, fast food, cafe, bistro, buffet, food truck, takeout, delivery.
Restaurant service: hostess, waiter, waitress, server, chef, menu, specials, reservation, check, tip.
Dining experience: atmosphere, ambiance, service quality, portion size, presentation, value for money, wait time, noise level.
Let's practice describing restaurant experiences and making dining recommendations. This is very important for IELTS speaking asks about places and experiences.
Can you describe a memorable restaurant experience you've had recently?
Last month, I went to a small Ethiopian restaurant that completely exceeded my expectations. The atmosphere was intimate and welcoming, with traditional music and decorative elements that created an authentic cultural experience.
What made the dining experience special?
The food was served family style on a large platter with injera bread, which you use instead of utensils to pick up different stews and vegetables. It was my first time eating Ethiopian food, and the server was very helpful in explaining the dishes and eating customs.
That sounds like dining became a cultural education experience.
Exactly. The flavors were complex and unique. Lots of berbere spice blend that was flavorful but not overwhelmingly hot. The portion sizes were generous and the value was excellent for the quality and uniqueness of the experience.
Would you recommend this restaurant to other people?
Definitely. I'd especially recommend it to people who enjoy trying new cuisines and don't mind eating with their hands. The restaurant is perfect for groups that want to share food and try many different flavors.
What about you, Tim? Can you describe a restaurant experience that stands out for you?
I recently discovered a family-owned Greek restaurant in my neighborhood that serves traditional home-style cooking. The atmosphere is very casual and friendly, not fancy, but comfortable and welcoming.
What did you enjoy about the food and service?
The portions were huge and everything tasted homemade. I ordered moussaka and it came with a Greek salad, rice, and warm pita bread. The server was the owner's daughter, and she explained how her grandmother's recipes were used in the kitchen. The prices were very reasonable, and the service was personal and attentive without being intrusive. It felt like eating at a friend's family dinner rather than a commercial restaurant.
That sounds like the kind of authentic, community-oriented dining experience that creates loyal customers.
Now let's learn vocabulary for food preferences, dietary requirements, and special diets.
Dietary preferences: vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, omnivore, flexitarian, organic, locally sourced, farm to table.
Dietary restrictions: gluten-free, dairy-free, nut allergy, lactose intolerant, diabetic, low sodium, kosher, halal.
Food qualities: fresh, organic, processed, artificial, natural, healthy, nutritious, high calorie, low fat.
Let's practice discussing dietary needs and food preferences. This is increasingly important in modern dining and social situations.
How do you handle dining out when you have dietary restrictions or preferences?
I don't have serious restrictions, but I try to eat healthily most of the time. When I'm dining out, I usually look for restaurants that offer grilled or baked options rather than fried foods, and I prefer places that include vegetables and salads on their menus.
Do you ever ask servers about ingredients or preparation methods?
Sometimes, especially if I'm trying to avoid very high sodium or heavily processed foods. Most servers are helpful about explaining how dishes are prepared or suggesting modifications. I've also learned to research restaurant menus online before going so I can identify healthy options in advance rather than making impulsive decisions when I'm hungry.
That's smart planning. What about accommodating guests with dietary restrictions when you're cooking or choosing restaurants? I always ask about dietary restrictions when inviting people for meals or suggesting restaurants. It's become much more common for people to have various food allergies, preferences, or health-related restrictions.
How do you handle cooking for people with different dietary needs?
I try to choose dishes that are naturally inclusive, or I prepare components separately so people can customize their meals. For example, serving grilled vegetables and proteins with sauces on the side, or making salads where people can add their preferred ingredients.
Many restaurants now clearly mark menu items as vegan, gluten-free, or allergy-friendly, which makes dining out much easier for people with restrictions.
Yes, and most chefs are experienced in modifying dishes to accommodate various dietary needs, so it's always worth asking.
Now let's learn vocabulary for describing flavors, textures, and food quality.
Flavors: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, spicy, mild, bland, savory, tangy, rich, smoky, aromatic.
Textures: crispy, crunchy, soft, tender, chewy, smooth, creamy, flaky, juicy, dry, moist.
Food quality: delicious, tasty, flavorful, fresh, stale, overcooked, undercooked, perfectly seasoned, too salty, excellent quality.
Let's practice describing foods using flavor and texture vocabulary. This is essential for IELTS speaking tasks about food preferences and experiences.
Can you describe your ideal comfort food using specific flavor and texture words?
My perfect comfort food would be homemade macaroni and cheese. Creamy, rich cheese sauce with tender pasta, topped with crispy breadcrumbs for texture contrast. The flavors should be savory and mildly sharp from good cheddar cheese, not too salty or artificial tasting.
That's a great description. What makes comfort food appealing beyond just taste?
Comfort foods are often associated with positive memories and emotional satisfaction. They tend to have familiar, uncomplicated flavors and satisfying textures, usually rich, warm, and substantial rather than light or exotic. For me, comfort food also means simple preparation and ingredients I recognize rather than complex or unfamiliar cuisine.
What about you? How would you describe a dish that represents perfect flavors and textures for you? I love a well-prepared Thai green curry. The perfect balance of spicy heat, creamy coconut milk, aromatic herbs like basil and lemongrass, and tender vegetables with a slight crunch. The flavors should be complex but harmonious, with sweet, salty, and spicy elements all present.
That sounds much more complex than my comfort food preferences.
Different people are drawn to different flavor profiles. I enjoy foods that challenge my palate and offer multiple taste sensations in one dish. But I also appreciate simple, perfectly prepared foods when the ingredients are high quality.
It's interesting how personal food preferences can be so individual and cultural. Now let's learn how to express opinions and make recommendations about food and dining.
Positive opinions. I highly recommend. It's absolutely delicious. The flavors are amazing. It's worth trying. You'll love it. It's my favorite.
Negative opinions. It's not to my taste. I found it disappointing. It's overpriced. The service was poor. I wouldn't order it again. It's not worth the money.
Making suggestions. You should try. I suggest. Have you considered? You might enjoy. It's perfect for. I think you'd like.
Let's practice giving food recommendations and expressing opinions. This is very common in IELTS speaking tasks about preferences and experiences.
If someone asked you to recommend a good restaurant for a special celebration, what would you suggest and why?
I'd recommend that Greek family restaurant I mentioned earlier, but it would depend on what kind of celebration and what the person enjoys. For a romantic dinner, I might suggest a different place with a quieter atmosphere and more elegant presentation.
How do you match restaurant recommendations to different occasions and people?
I consider the atmosphere, price range, cuisine type, and service style. For business dinners, I'd choose places with good acoustics for conversation and professional ambiance. For family gatherings, I'd pick restaurants with varied menus and casual, welcoming environments. I also ask about dietary restrictions and cuisine preferences before making suggestions, since personal taste varies so much.
That's very thoughtful. What factors do you consider when recommending dishes to people?
I try to understand their spice tolerance, whether they're adventurous or prefer familiar flavors, and any dietary restrictions. I also consider the restaurant's specialties and what they do best. Do you have strategies for introducing people to new cuisines?
I usually recommend starting with milder, more familiar tasting dishes from a new cuisine, rather than the most exotic options. For example, if someone's never had Thai food, I might recommend pad Thai or green curry with mild spice levels, rather than very traditional dishes with unfamiliar ingredients.
That's a great approach to expanding people's culinary horizons gradually.
Let's review everything we learned today. We covered different international cuisines and cooking methods, restaurant experiences and dining vocabulary, dietary preferences and restrictions, flavor and texture descriptions, and home cooking processes.
We learned essential vocabulary for discussing food preferences, describing dining experiences, explaining cooking techniques, and making food recommendations to others.
Remember, food vocabulary is incredibly useful for IELTS speaking and writing tasks about culture, preferences, experiences, and daily life. Plus, it's practical for traveling, socializing, and living in English-speaking countries.
This vocabulary connects with our previous lessons too. Food relates to cultural traditions, travel experiences, health and wellness, social activities with friends, and shopping decisions.
Practice tip. This week, try describing your favorite dish or a memorable dining experience using today's vocabulary. Focus on flavors, textures, and what made the experience special.
For IELTS preparation, practice answering common food questions like describe a restaurant you enjoy or compare food in your country with international cuisine.
You can also practice giving food recommendations and explaining cooking processes using the descriptive vocabulary we learned today.
Before we finish today, we have your homework assignment.
Tell us about your favorite cuisine or a memorable food experience in the comments. Use the vocabulary we learned today.
For example, you could write, I love Japanese cuisine because of its fresh ingredients and simple preparation methods. Sushi is my favorite. The fish is tender and flavorful, and the rice is perfectly seasoned.
Or, I recently tried Ethiopian food for the first time. The spices were aromatic and complex, and eating with injera bread was a unique cultural experience. I highly recommend it to adventurous food lovers.
Challenge. This week, try a new cuisine or cooking method and describe your experience using today's food and dining vocabulary.
Tomorrow, we'll explore health and medicine in greater detail, essential vocabulary for discussing medical topics, symptoms, treatments, and healthcare systems.
Thank you so much for learning with us today. Please subscribe to English After Hours, like this video, and share it with your friends who are learning English.
Remember, we upload new lessons every day, so make sure you're subscribed with the notifications on so you don't miss tomorrow's episode.
Keep practicing, keep exploring delicious foods, and we'll see you tomorrow for another essential English lesson.
Goodbye from English After Hours.
Bye, everyone.